It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Yale's assistant squash coach, Coach Campbell Grayson. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Yeah, how are you doing? Good to be here.
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in the sport of college squash?
Yeah, I sort of how it came about is when Linda Young, who's the head coach now at Yale, when she approached me about it when she got the job as head coach. So I'd sort of just come off the tour playing professionally. She had been at Yale for like sort of 4 or 5 years, and then the head coach before her, Dave Talbot, retired, and she just got in the job and said, "I'm looking at hiring an assistant coach." And then so we talked about it for a few months or so, and then I was coaching at a private class, coaching at a club at the time, and then I thought it would just it was something that I really would like to do, especially coming from the tour, like working with like really motivated athletes. Coming from the tour, which is like a very sort of competitive environment, and then working with like motivated athletes, and like I love being in a team environment as well. And I'd been following college squash for quite a while. I'd sort of done a bit of work like as a volunteer coach with the Harvard team because I lived up in Boston for a bit, so I was just like training with them quite a lot and sort of really liked the dynamic of it. So after sort of thinking about it for quite a while, it's like this is something that I'd love to do, and so I took the job.
What was that experience like getting to play professional squash in New Zealand?
It was great. It was obviously had quite a long time playing on the tour, and really enjoyed it. It's very challenging. It's tough. It's not an easy it's not an easy profession. You have to work really hard at it, but had some great moments, some great memories. Got to travel a lot, met a lot of great people. So really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the hard training and the matches and tournaments and things like that. Teams events I used to love. So really happy I did it, and lots of great memories. Yeah.
While playing in New Zealand, what was it like getting to represent a country like New Zealand on the national team?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, it was definitely one of the pinnacles, like a real highlight. Like I loved playing for my country, and everyone was really passionate about playing for each other and playing for our country. And the World Teams events and Commonwealth Games and stuff like that were always like a real highlight. So loved it. Loved it. Always trying to just do our best and finish high and break records and things like that. It was great. Yeah, we always had good support as well from our association and good coaches and things like that alongside us with when we went on our trip. So
during your time, what were some of your biggest accomplishments as a player?
Well, I think like as a senior player at PSA, I won New Zealand nationals a couple of times. So they helped the New Zealand team finish like in the top 5, top 6 a couple of times at the World Teams events. I got to my career high of 24 in the world. So that was a highlight. I sort of had goals to try and get higher, but it was good that I got there, and I think I won about 14 titles. So that was nice. Yeah, I think that's probably it, really. Yeah.
How have you been able to take what you learned as a professional squash player over to in your coaching style?
I think things like as a player, for example, for sure, like like time management and discipline and hard work, honesty, respect, things like that were really important as a player, because you got to as a pro player, like you got to be honest to yourself. Otherwise you're not going to achieve what you need to achieve. Really, you got to be honest to yourself in terms of how you're going about everything, how you're training, what things you need to work on in your game, what are your weaknesses, how do you improve those, all those types of things. And if you're not, then you're gonna get found out. And then things like respect, like you got to respect your opponents if they're sort of ranked above you or below you. You've always got to have that respect and things like that, and just trying to instill that into the teams that I coach, really, as well. Time management, just being on time, not making people wait, and managing your time well, so you can, especially as a student athlete, so you can fit in your training around your studies and classes and things like that. And discipline, obviously being disciplined with your diet and in your training and in your matches as well. So all those kind of things that I learned as a player and that was sort of really important to me, I think I've tried to really really instill in my coaching as well.
What has that transition been like from going from being a professional squash player to getting into coaching?
It's been good, yeah. Yeah, really enjoyed it. I sort of did do a little bit. I did a bit of coaching while I was playing. But now just like full time going into coaching, I've really enjoyed it because, especially at the college level as well. Although I like coaching anybody, just being around sort of motivated young athletes, trying to, even though just being a small part of their sort of journey is really satisfying. Yeah, just going from that really competitive environment and being able to transfer that into another environment is pretty cool, because it's quite hard to do that as an athlete. It's you sort of, it's quite a big come down really. You do something for such a long time, and then once you sort of stop, once you retire from playing, it's quite hard to sort of have that kind of thrill again. All the sort of highs and lows that you go through as an athlete, and a lot of athletes kind of struggle after they stop playing, on what their next kind of step is, or what their next purpose is really. So I think that was that transition was quite easy really. Although I certainly had to learn a few things in terms of coaching sort of larger teams and recruiting and different things about the job. And that just took time, and I sort of spoke to Lynn about that as well, and she was great about all that sort of stuff. So that wasn't too hard to sort of transfer. It just took time to sort of get used to all that sort of new stuff about the job really. But yeah, I think the transition was really pretty smooth, and I was really excited, and just sort of threw all my energy into it.
How was that experience like, getting that experience of coaching on the private level?
Oh, get experience coaching at the private level. Yeah, yeah, it's good. It's good. I mean, private clubs is kind of a different dynamic again. I worked at the New York Athletic Club for about 4 years, and that was great. And yeah, it's sort of more like a business really. You just like, well, not business, but you just like it's sort of constant. You've got people constantly coming in. It's a lot of like member service. You're trying to give the members the best experience they can get really. And just trying to give good quality coaching and stuff like that as well. So it's quite a different dynamic, because it's all about sort of the club, and you're not really, it's not so much kind of like high performance as in now at Yale. But I still really enjoyed it. It was still a really good experience. I learned a lot. You learn a lot about people skills, and it's kind of all about people really, and learning how to build a program. And I got to coach, whether it was like juniors or adults. Like I really enjoyed the coaching side of it as well. So yeah, it was great.
What was that experience like for you coming to Yale and becoming the assistant coach for squash?
Oh, it was great. I sort of, yeah, like I sort of mentioned before, it was just very it was sort of very motivating for me. I sort of had clear goals of like what I wanted to achieve. Clear goals of like where I sort of wanted the teams to try and finish, or what I wanted them to achieve, and how I wanted them to train, and different things that I thought that probably needed to be changed. And I'd sort of been given a bit of background information, and Lynn had sort of told me what her vision was, and where she wants to get the team to. So I had a pretty clear picture of what I wanted to do, what I needed to do. And yeah, it was just awesome. It was like I felt like I was lucky. The teams seemed like they were pretty excited for me to come in, and that so they gave me a decent amount of respect, and I just really enjoyed it. I was just super excited. I remember just coming in when I started. It was actually the summer, but I just remember waking up really excited. I just couldn't wait to get to work, and just like really buzzing to get on court and work with all the players and meet them, and then go into the season and give it our best shot. And we that first season for me was really fun as well. We had everyone, like, they had the COVID year off, so it just sort of been announced that the season was coming back on, so everyone was really excited to be playing again and have everything back to normal. And had a really fun season. Great group of people, both teams, and we did well as well. So yeah, it was a great transition. I felt really lucky to be able to do that, and it's been great. So I've really enjoyed it so far.
What does a typical squash match look like for you as a coach versus for your athletes?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think for the athletes, it's about them just getting mentally and physically prepared to go on and do battle, and we always say to them, just focus on your own matches. Don't worry about who else is playing, because you can't control that. Just control what you can control. So just give it your best, and we'll be there to support you. So they're just really trying to get ready to do as well as they possibly can. For us, we're trying to sort of keep the teams in line, keep them organized throughout the day in terms of like what their itinerary is and food and things like that. rest, how they're preparing, what we're going to say to the teams to try and get them prepared, and then strategically how we're going to coach the teams, like who's going to coach who, going through tactics, how they're going to play, how we're going to coach them against these different players, what we're going to say. So there's kind of a lot of like strategy really that we're thinking about, and we're just trying to keep it pretty simple for the athletes and give them good plans so they can just go out and just do it.
For my listeners that don't know, how do you play the sport of squash?
It's a very fast game. It's very physical. You got 4 walls. You got a little black ball with graphite rackets. So you're basically you're trying to sort of kind of outmaneuver your opponent really on a small court of a box. You only get 1 bounce, and you're trying to you're basically trying to hit the ball away from your opponent so you can win the point or force a mistake from them. And then the points go to 11, win by 2 if it gets to 10-all, and then best of 5 games. But really, you got to be pretty smart about where you put the ball as well. We talk about like building length, getting the ball to the back of the court, and that's kind of like your foundation. And then from there, you can get your tee position, and if the ball comes, sort of quite loose, then you can try to attack more. So there's kind of a strategy that takes quite a while to explain and coach for players to be good. But that's kind of a simple way of explaining it, I guess. Yeah.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against during these squash matches?
Yeah, so we're typically doing fairly well at the moment. Both our teams are in the first division, so you've really got like for the men this year we're sort of really battling against Harvard, Penn, Princeton, Trinity, and then there's like Drexel, UVA, Columbia, Cornell, Dartmouth. Yeah, so those are them kind of. The Nationals are going to be top 12 this year, so you got Tufts as well, Western Ontario. Those are probably the 12 teams that are there and thereabout. I don't think I've missed anyone out. Pretty sure I've got all the Ivies in there. Yeah. So, and then the women's similar as well, like Princeton, Trinity, UVA, Drexel, Columbia, Cornell. I said Harvard. Obviously, Harvard have been the top for a long time now. So, you got similar schools there as well. It's not too much difference. Dartmouth, all the Ivy Leagues. Yeah. So we play all those teams throughout the season, and yeah. That's who we compete against, really.
What is that atmosphere like at home when teams like Trinity and Princeton come to home versus going to Princeton and going to Harvard?
Yeah, it's a good atmosphere. We always get a good crowd at Yale, like the parents and alumni and supporters come and watch, and we've got a cool facility so we can fit lots of people, and we've got some really cool show courts as well. We've got three glass courts, not full glass courts, but they are really good show courts, so we can always fit a lot of people around them, and people get pretty loud, and the atmosphere is good, so it's good. It's certainly not it's not an atmosphere that's out of control. I've been to some games where it can get a little out of control maybe sometimes. So we keep it controlled, and the cheering definitely doesn't get out of hand. But it's definitely a fun atmosphere, and we love playing at home. That's for sure.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you've helped to build at Yale for the squash program?
Yeah. I think the culture, me and Lynn have talked about it a lot, and Tate, who's the other assistant coach, we certainly, I think Yale said this for quite a while, but we certainly try to make it like a family type atmosphere. So, everybody gets along well. The men's and women's teams mix well. We're always here for each other. So we try to spend a lot of time with the athletes, whether, just talking about their game, or whether it's like squash in terms of they want to talk about their squash game and their training and how to improve, or video analysis, or they want to talk about, something to do with school or something to do personally, or whatever it is. We always try to make time to speak to them about that and be there for them. We do a lot of social activities together, whether that's going to the movies or going for dinner. Or recently we just came back from an international trip. We're in Ireland, so we're in Dublin or Galway. We did a training trip there and lots of cool activities. So we certainly spend a lot of time together, and we try to make it like a fun family type atmosphere, and then we want to win as well, so we train them hard, and we put a lot of work into the coaching and recruiting, and we want to be good teams as well. So things like I mentioned before, like respect and discipline and hard work certainly come into the culture. Yeah.
What was that experience like for you, coaching in Ireland and having that coaching international experience, as you previously have had the playing international experience?
Oh, it was great. Yeah, I mean, it was really nice to go back to Dublin. I'd played there quite a few times, and just seeing people that I hadn't seen for a while. And I think just sort of being in another country and is different for some of the athletes. So they'd never been there before and never been maybe never been to Europe. So it's just a really cool experience for them to train at a different club and meet different people, see different things. I think the camaraderie between the two teams was really good as well. They just were spending a lot of time together, and we were sort of forced to share courts because we only really had 6 courts at the club. So yeah, just all of them getting along really well was great. It was just an awesome experience. Yeah.
So far as assistant coach, what have been some of the things that you've been able to accomplish so far at Yale?
Well, I think sort of getting back into, I think getting the men's team back into the top 4 consistently has been a good accomplishment. They were struggling a little bit, and I know sort of the years prior to that they were struggling a little bit, kind of not really making top 5, or they were sort of further down the first division. So I thought, as a school like Yale, that's not really good enough. They should be right up there. And the last couple of seasons, they've been right there. They've been quite close to winning really last year. They lost a really tight semi-final to Harvard, and the year before that they also lost a really tight semi-final to Penn. And a couple of things that maybe went our way, or a few points here we could have potentially won. So yeah, and then getting third place in those was really good. And then we've started the season well as well, and looking pretty strong. So just being in the mix and right up there, but sort of going for that national title has been great. I feel like I've sort of helped a lot of that team, and then with the women as well, we got a top 4 placing the first year I was here, and I think we're looking pretty good this season. So I certainly think the performances and have been good, and I'm pretty proud of since I've been here. And then just improving a lot of their games as well. We had the first year I was here, we had 15 people go to the individual nationals, so that's half the team basically from the 2 teams. Just them wanting to do that was pretty awesome, just seeing how keen they were to do that. And then we had some All-American honors and things like that for the individual titles. So just helping people improve their game, and then just the relationships really I've been able to develop with a lot of athletes who are now alumni, and I keep in touch with them and the current athletes on the team and some of the staff at Yale as well, and the parents and things like that. Some of the alumni connections, yeah. So that just the people and being able to sort of connect with them has been great.
What did that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to play on the collegiate level of squash?
What it looks like, it's pretty competitive. It's we sort of have like a date where we can start talking to the athletes once they come into their junior year of high school, and then we'll start speaking to them. We'll kind of know who we're looking at, and whether that's international or American. Once we're allowed to talk to them, we start talking to them, and they can do sort of unofficial, official visits, and mix into the team, and we just try to get to know more about them really, and then see if we really want to recruit them and if they want to come to Yale. So, and that's when we start working with admissions. Lynn does a lot of that work. To sort of see if they can gain admission into the college. But yeah, it is very competitive. There's a lot of talent out there, but at the same time you've really got to make sure that you have the grades and that your squash is at a high level, because obviously Yale's a pretty prestigious university, and the grades need to be high. So yeah, important.
As a coach, what do you look at in those prospective student athletes when out on the road recruiting, whether it's international or national?
A big thing is I look at talent, and I look at them on court, and if they're going to be able to, if I think they're going to be able to play, be good players at the collegiate level. But certainly just how they are as people as well. Are they going to fit into the team? Are they going to be good team players? Are they going to mix in well with our current team? Do they really love the sport? Are they going to get to college, and are they just going to have fun and muck around, or are they really going to keep progressing and try to improve and be better players? So those are certainly big things that I look at. Yeah.
As a coach, what is it like seeing those prospective student athletes fall in love with the campus of Yale and the squash facility?
Yeah, it's brilliant. I love when they are just loving the squash facility, or loving sort of life on campus, and mixing in well at the school, and mixing in well with the team, and enjoying competition and things like that. It's really satisfying. So some student athletes do it quite quickly, some take a little bit longer, but it's really great to see them do that, because it's such a good dynamic and they can just get so much out of it. So yeah.
As a college coach, what's it like seeing those freshmen put on that squash uniform for Yale for the first time, and your seniors putting it on for the last time?
Yeah, it's exciting when we're always excited when we have freshmen come in, and we've just recruited them. Yeah, it's very exciting. And the seniors thing is a little bit bittersweet. I'm happy and proud of them that they've got that far, and they've done well and they're about to graduate, but obviously you kind of get a little sad sometimes as well because you spend, this year I'm going to be saying bye to three, about 5 or 6 athletes that I've spent a lot of time with and seen them progress so much. So it is a little bit bittersweet actually, and a little bit sad that you see them go, but also really happy for them as well.
What is that like, getting to see those freshmen score those first points and step onto the squash court for the first time?
Yeah, it's great. Just excited for them. Like seeing them get points or get like when they're getting wins in. It's great. It's great for their confidence, and it's going to hold them in good stead like going forward as well. So
what is that like as a coach, getting to see those seniors put on that squash Yale uniform for the last time?
Yeah, pretty bittersweet. Like this year, for example, I spent a lot of time with the seniors that are going to be graduating. So you get a little bit sad, but it's also very satisfying as well. Like you're really proud of them because all the seniors that I've sort of said goodbye to have been, done such great things, and a lot of them are captains as well. So they've also been really good leaders for the teams and just contributed a lot to the team. So yeah, bittersweet, but also happy as well. Yeah.
As a coach and a former player, what is it like seeing your players go on and playing professionally, internationally?
Yeah, it's great. I actually haven't had any yet. Like the sort of two teams that I've coached before, no one's actually gone on to play pro. Some have sort of thought about it or certainly been good enough, but there could be a few coming up. So yeah, I encourage it. I'm really excited about it, even if they just do it for like a few years to sort of get a taste of it. And it's something that they'll never think like, oh, should I have gone or should I have done it? They know they would have done it. So yeah, it's exciting, and I sort of just support them as much as I can, really.
What are some of your future plans for the program moving forward at Yale?
I think I'm sort of learning all the time. So I'm sort of learning. Like I'm just trying to be a bit of a sponge at the moment because I feel like I'm still fairly new and sort of it's my 3rd season. So I'm learning a lot about like recruiting and about with coaching and team management, things like that. So I'm trying to apply as much of that as I possibly can to the team so we can just get good results. We want to win some national titles. We want to win some Ivy titles. I want to sort of do a little bit more international recruiting, like maybe get over to Egypt, things like that, because we've never had Egyptian players at Yale, so it'd be nice to sort of tap into that sort of market a little bit. Yeah, I think future plans and sort of in terms of coaching as well, like just making sure that I just want to make sure like us as coaches that our coaching team is just like really, really strong and we just have everything covered in terms of coaching. So we're not like missing anything and we're reviewing sessions and things like that. I just want to make sure that that's really intact, probably even more. And yeah, I mean, I don't really think there's too much else like going towards for the future. I think it's just being better at what we're doing at the moment in terms of, we have the athletes from September till May. We know when the season is, we know when the off season is. We have good structures in place. We do summer camps in the summertime, and that helps with recruiting because we can kind of get an eye on people that maybe want to come. We sort of know that the recruiting trips that we go on and which ones are important. Like I said, I would like to get to Egypt and a few other places, maybe a bit of Europe, just to see more of that, see more international talent. I think that can always be helpful. But I think just sort of keep being better at what we're doing, really, in terms of everything that we're doing in terms of coaching, the culture of our team, making players better, just keep being better at that.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college squash?
I think don't put too much pressure on yourself. Just knowing that it's your first year, not coming in thinking like, oh, I want to win every match or I want to be unbeatable or something like that. Like just enjoying it and kind of trying to soak in the atmosphere and mix in with the team and learn lots and communicate well with the coaches and things like that. And just being patient as well. It takes time to get used to the school, to get used to your classes, professors, things like that, to sort of adjust to being a student athlete. So yeah, just being patient and just enjoying the process, really. Yeah.
What advice would you give those international players that are looking to play on the college squash level?
Well, firstly, I sort of encourage them to do it. Encourage them to get over and come to schools here and get a good degree, get a good education, play college squash. I think it's a great dynamic. So, a lot of international players are doing that, and that's great. And then same thing, really. Like, well, in terms of recruiting, like you've got to reach out to coaches, put the work in, visit schools, see which is the best school that is going to fit for you. And then once you're here, like probably just being patient again. It does take some time to adjust, and going from high school to university takes some time, and then the squash is normally another level up from junior squash. So those things take time, and then you're an international student, right? So you're in another country, you're in kind of a different environment, so that takes a little bit of time to sort of get used to as well, whether it's the education system or making new friends, being in a new environment. That can always take some time. So just just being patient with that, but also enjoy it. Enjoy it. It's all new. If you're an international student, you're in a new country, new environment, training and playing with different people, it's all pretty exciting. So
what advice would you give those college squash players looking to play professional squash after their college career?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, go and enjoy it, and just knowing that it is a bit of a step up, but it's exciting as well, because by the time you do that, you've graduated, you got your degree out of the way, so you can just sort of put all your energy into squash, but just knowing that it is a step up. There's a lot of good players. You're gonna go through a few losses, and you're gonna have to be patient with it as well. But just really work hard, train hard, and enjoy it, and just give it all you got, really. Yeah.
What advice would you give those professional squash players like yourself getting into coaching on the college level?
Yeah, good question. I think it's certainly different. It's you kind of, for me, I sort of told myself at the start that I need to just kind of let go of my my playing career, and I need to really shift my mindset into a coach's mindset, where it's not about me anymore, because as an athlete, it is a lot about you. It's a lot about, you've got to get yourself into a good mind space. You got to be right physically, so you got to do everything around that to make sure you're in a good spot, so you can play well and compete well. And at times you have to be a little bit selfish as well. So it is all about you, and it's about people kind of supporting you to put you in a good position to perform well. Whereas as a coach, it completely switches. It's not about me anymore. It's about me sort of doing everything I can so I can help the athletes be in a really good spot. And I think it does help. Like, if you've been an athlete, you know what they're going through, you know what they need to do. So I just try to do everything I can to support them, to put them in a good position to play well. But it's it is a lot of kind of management, and your mindset definitely shifts. So it's certainly about, the team. You got to be very sort of selfless. You've got to be thinking about the team all the time. What you can do to make them better, what needs to be done better. Like, you got to do a lot of review of training sessions and things like that. I think you got to this takes time as well, but you got to spend time getting to know your athletes and developing connections with them, and so that they can trust you. And yeah, you just got to put the time into it, really. Like, you're not just going to be an awesome coach straight away. I think you're going to learn a lot, and you got to be a bit of a sponge. But also, it's sort of a great transition to go to. I think I know some other players have kind of gone down this route soon after me as well, and have really enjoyed it. And it's really fun. It's such a cool team atmosphere, and it's very satisfying. So
what advice would you give those coaches out there looking to get into coaching the sport of squash?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good good profession. It's a good job to have. I think it can be very rewarding. Like saying that before, whether you've been a player or not, like it's certainly about you trying to sort of do everything you can to help the athlete perform at their best. And yeah, I think it's really satisfying. I'd say, like, if you're getting into coaching, go out and coach as much as you can, get as much experience as you can, whether it's with young, like super young, like kids, working with kids, because that's kind of a different dynamic, or whether it's working with pro players, or elite junior players, or players that aren't really that good, or adult players, things like that. Like, go out and coach as much as you can, whether it's teams, camps, clinics, things like that. Just go out and get as much experience as you can, and find maybe what you're best at, and what you're passionate about, and then try to find a job and where you think it suits you best. But it's lots of fun. You meet great people. It's really satisfying. And yeah, I highly recommend it. Yeah, I think it's a really good sport to be coaching in. It's a safe sport. We don't have well, touch wood, we don't have too many injuries. We obviously have injuries. Every sport does, but very healthy sport, and there's a lot of good people in the sport. So yeah.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the Yale squash program at?
Social media, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and then Yale has an Instagram account, at Yale Squash. So we sort of post our results and how we're doing through the season and everything that's going on within the Yale Squash program. So give those a follow. We're sort of right into the thick of the season at the moment. We're actually playing Harvard this weekend. And then sort of right into a lot of matches. So lots of exciting times ahead.
Thank you again, Coach Campbell Grayson, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as the assistant coach at squash at Yale.
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks. I really enjoyed being on here, and thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Campbell Grayson, for your interview. Best luck in the future.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.